when we get to verse 10 in Isaiah 53, where it talks about the reward that will be given to this servant if he will offer himself up, if he will accept all this suffering, the reward is, it says in Isaiah 53 verse 10, he shall see his seed, he shall prolong his days. In other words, God is blessing him that he will have seed, he will have children, and he will prolong his days. Now when it comes to prolonging days, Jesus loses coming or going. What do I mean? Well, if Jesus is a divine being, and he's an eternal being, then how can you prolong infinity, right? To say that you'll prolong his days is kind of ridiculous, because if he's a preeminent figure that has been existing for eternity, how can you prolong eternity? And if we say that he was a man, well, we know that he was killed between the age of 30 and 33. That's by no means prolonging days.
Actually, verse 10 poses a bigger problem for the rabbinic position than it does for the messianic position. Verse 10 says that it pleased Adonai to crush him. Does it please God to crush Israel when Israel has done no wrong? Remember, according to the rabbinic reading, this is about the righteous remnant of Israel, which means that the righteous remnant is innocent. How is God pleased with crushing the righteous among the nation? Verse 6 says that Adonai makes light on the servant the iniquity of his persecutors. Why would it please Adonai to do that? Since we are talking about Yeshua as the servant, we need to properly define what we mean by him being the servant. This is explained by the apostle Shaul in Philippians 2 verse 5 through 11, where it reads, "Your attitude should be the same as that of the Messiah Yeshua, who, being in very nature Elohim, did not consider equality with Elohim something to be grasped, but made himself nothing, taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness, and being found in the appearance as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient to death, even death on a cross. Therefore Elohim has exalted him to the highest place and gave him the name that is above every name, that at the name of Yeshua every knee should bow in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and every tongue confess Yeshua HaMashiach is Adon, to the glory of Elohim the Father." Which is exactly what Yeshua said when he told the Father to exalt him and restore him to the position that he had before he came to this earth. This we read in John 17 verses 4 and 5. "I have brought you glory on earth by completing the work you gave me to do. And now, Father, glorify me in your presence with the glory I had with you before the world began." Yeshua gave up his divine prerogatives to become one like us and was eventually restored to his previous state. Had he not done that, Isaiah 53 would not have been possible. When he returns, riding on the clouds of heaven, as said in Daniel 7, he will divide the spoil among the great. We believe that the New Testament teaches that Yeshua was truly God who truly became man for our sakes. As a man, he suffered like us, rejoiced like us, he died like us. So as to his form as a servant goes, he physically died, and that body resurrected, i.e. his life was prolonged.
And when we talk about seed, Christians will often say that Jesus did fulfill this because he had many disciples. So they clearly take this as not literal, but figurative children, i.e. pupils, disciples can be considered children. However, if you look in the Hebrew in this verse, it uses the word zera, a very stark expression, where zera is a word for seed. It is also the biblical word for sperm, and it always refers to physical offspring. We have a clear example of this in Genesis chapter 15 verse 2, where what happens is Abraham was complaining to God, what can you already give me? I don't have any children, right? And the one that's going to inherit me, Ben Demesek Basi, the son of my home, is Eliezer. So Eliezer is the one that's going to be inherited, and he calls Eliezer a Ben. However, I have no Zerah. And then we see a clear contrast between Zerah and Ben. Eliezer may be called a son figuratively. However, he's not a Zerah. He's not a physical offspring. And God tells him not to worry, because only that which comes out of your bowels, in other words, your physical seed, will inherit you, i.e., God promises him a son, Isaac.
As to him seeing his offspring, that is not what the text says. It says that he will see seed. It doesn't mean that it will be his seed. Seed is used metaphorically as well. For example, in Isaiah 57 verse 4, it reads, "On whom will you rely to enjoy yourselves? Against whom do you open your mouth wide? Against whom do you stick out your tongue? Are you not children of transgression, a seed of falsehood?" No one will claim that falsehood had physical seed, right? Then why is this interpretation forced upon the text in Isaiah 53 verse 10? Also, we read in Psalm 22 verse 31, "Seed shall serve him. It shall be told of the Lord unto the next generation." Will you be consistent and claim that Zerah here would mean that God's physical descendants will serve him? If not, why not? Because it doesn't say it will be his seed, but just seed, right? Well, that is exactly what it says in Isaiah 53 verse 10. So, you saying that the Hebrew word zerah always refers to physical seed is just wrong. It doesn't always refer to physical seed. Thus, Genesis 15 verse 2 proves nothing, and thus this point doesn't invalidate the application to Yeshua either.